Okay, bro, real talk for a second. I genuinely think Supergirl might end up becoming one of the biggest surprises DC has had in years. Maybe not bigger than Superman financially, but potentially bigger in terms of emotional impact and online discussion. And honestly, that possibility is way more real than people think. Because let's be honest here, after years of DC struggling, 2025 finally felt like the moment things started changing again. James Gunn's Superman came out, and suddenly people actually cared about DC again. Not in the fake, maybe this one will save the universe way we've heard 100 times before. This time, it felt different. David Corenswet's Superman felt hopeful, sincere, human, like an actual Superman. The movie performed well, audiences liked it, and for the first time in forever, DC fans weren't fighting for survival online every single week. That movie basically reopened the door for the entire DCU, and now comes Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow in June 2026. But the crazy thing is, this movie doesn't even feel like it belongs in the same emotional category as Superman. Clark Kent is the hopeful one, the farm boy raised with love. Kara Zor-El isn't that. Kara watched Krypton die. She remembers the destruction. She remembers the fear. She carries trauma that Clark never had to experience because he grew up safe on Earth. That's why this version of Supergirl already feels way more intense. And honestly, that's exactly what makes people interested. This isn't the smiling CW-style Supergirl people casually remember. This Kara looks angry, tired, emotionally unstable, like someone who's trying to survive instead of inspire. The Woman of Tomorrow comic was already darker and more emotional than most people expected, and the movie seems to be fully embracing that energy. Then you add the rest of the ingredients: a revenge-driven space adventure, alien worlds, Krypto the Superdog somehow existing in the middle of all this darkness, and Jason Momoa as freaking Lobo. Come on, bro, that sounds insane. And I think that's why people are starting to wonder if Supergirl could actually become the more talked-about movie compared to Superman. Because it feels riskier. Superman had to play things safe to rebuild trust. It needed to remind people why Superman matters. But Supergirl has room to get weird now. It can be more emotional, more violent, more cosmic, more experimental. And sometimes those are the movies that end up sticking with audiences longer. Also, Milly Alcock is honestly a really smart casting choice. After House of the Dragon, people already know she can play emotionally damaged characters without making them feel annoying or overdramatic. She has this energy where she looks vulnerable one second and terrifying the next. That's literally perfect for Kara, because Kara shouldn't feel emotionally polished. She should feel messy. This is a girl carrying years of pain, loneliness, and rage, while still trying to be a hero. That's way more relatable to modern audiences than people realize, especially now when audiences connect harder with flawed characters than perfect symbols. But at the same time, we gotta be realistic. Superman is still Superman. That symbol is bigger than almost every superhero brand on Earth. Casual audiences who don't even watch comic book movies still know who Superman is. The red cape alone sells tickets. Supergirl doesn't have that same automatic mainstream pull yet, and historically, spin-offs usually don't outperform the main hero unless something crazy happens. Sure, there are exceptions like Wonder Woman, but generally the flagship character stays on top. Plus, superhero fatigue is still very real. People aren't blindly showing up anymore just because a movie has CGI and capes. If Supergirl feels too depressing, too niche, or too dependent on DC lore, casual viewers could check out fast, especially if the movie leans harder into emotional trauma than crowd-pleasing fun. And honestly, that's probably the biggest risk here, because this movie sounds amazing for comic fans, but can it connect with normal audiences too? That's the real test. But weirdly enough, I think the fact that Supergirl feels smaller and more personal could actually help it. Sometimes audiences get tired of save-the-universe stories. A broken Kryptonian trying to survive emotionally while traveling across dangerous planets with a revenge-driven kid? That's a different vibe entirely. And if the chemistry works, especially Kara, Ruthie, and Lobo, this movie could explode online through word of mouth alone. My prediction?
No, I don't think Supergirl will beat Superman at the global box office. Superman's brand is simply too massive, but I do think Supergirl has a chance to become the more emotionally loved movie.
The kind of movie people keep making edits about months later. The kind of performance that creates a fan base around Milly Alcock overnight. The kind of film where audiences walk out saying, "Wait, why was that actually way better than I expected?" And honestly, DC kinda needs that. Because if Superman rebuilt trust, Supergirl could prove this universe actually has depth. So what do you guys think? Will Kara Zor-El fly higher than Clark Kent? Or will she always stay under Superman's shadow? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I already know this fandom is going to be divided on this one. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more. We'll see you guys in the next video.